Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, guys? Sergeant Moose here, back with another Evil Dead the Game video. And guys, as promised, we have finally done it. We've reached level 25 on all survivors. We got a good feel for how all of them play out. And I wanted to make a video ranking them from least to best, in my opinion, based on my playing time with them. Now, guys, this list was incredibly difficult to make because every survivor in this game is very, very good in their own unique way. However, some of them, in my opinion, are better than others. Some of them synergize better with the teammates that they have. So this list is going to be a little complicated, and I know some of you are going to be like, well, you know, there may be a character that's low on my list, and you may be like, okay, well, I main this character, and he's an absolute beast. You're crazy for putting him this low, that kind of thing. I do expect that. However, this is based on how I feel about these characters. Now, again, this could change down the road, maybe with a little more playing time with each one of them, things like that. But I'm going to go mainly based on their abilities and what they're able to do to help themselves and their teammates out in battle, and as how they can survive in battle as well. So guys, again, just as a disclaimer, I know some of you may not agree with this list. Again, you might have a character that's kind of low on my list that you're really good with, and you would totally disagree that they should be that low. But again, this is just, I'm kind of just taking a look at each character here, and from my own experiences, who I think may be the worst to the best. Again, they're all great, but I'm making this list, so somebody has to be the worst on my list. But nonetheless, guys, let's jump into it, man. Let's see what this list is about. All right, guys, so I did want to mention, too, before we start this, that whenever I made this, I seen this list from the perspective as playing as a solo player with randoms, as opposed to a full communicative squad. And the reason I say that is because you might find some players on here that are absolutely amazing and built for communicating squads that are kind of low on my list, because they're just not as good or effective in a squad, as a solo with a bunch of randoms and non-communicating. So as you guys can see here, we have Knowby as the lowest tier on our list. Now, she is a leader, and what she does, now she is a little bit squishy. Of course, all leaders are a little squishy. They're kind of balanced in all areas. But when I look at her abilities, she obviously has the range damage. Whenever she activates the ability, everybody in her aura, including her, gets an increased buff in range damage. And as you can see, it's 100% damage, so double the damage. And we get a higher duration as you level her up. On the skill tree, as you can see here, an additional 10% within that aura. And as for here, she focuses on a lot of balance bar damage. Now we have a 25% to basics, and when you get her maxed out to 25, she does a 25 to elites and a 100% to boss damage, or boss units, which is insane. Now, all of that's well and good, guys, but the only thing I noticed is a lot of demons are using basic unit builds nowadays, including myself. I use a basic unit necromancer build. So we don't use a ton of bosses. We don't need to use a ton of bosses nowadays. So that kind of makes her 100% balance bar damage to bosses kind of obsolete, depending on the demon she's facing, which is why she's the lowest here on our list. Now, we could go on talking about her even more than this, but we're going to go with Knowby at number 13. Number 12, Scotty. And it even pains me to say this because I really enjoy using Scotty, man. I had a ton of fun with him, and I still enjoy using him. But again, whenever we look at the ability, his Thunder Thrust is very, very lackluster, to say the least. And I personally believe that it does need a buff. When activated, this explosive special move damages all enemies in the surrounding area. Now, it's really cool. It can get you out of a lot of sticky situations, especially whenever you have mobs of basics around you. You can kind of just burst them out of the area, take a breath, and, you know, collect yourself a little bit. But the thing about it is it just doesn't do enough, in my opinion, to render this as a very good ability. We come down here with collateral damage. Your heavy melee attacks inflict additional damage to nearby enemies, which is cool. But again, it doesn't really seem like a massive difference maker. Of course, we have the 13% there on a 9.8 foot impact radius. But again, it doesn't seem like it makes a huge difference, in my opinion. We have exposure therapy, partially reduces your fear levels with every enemy you kill. That's all well and good, but in this game is so fast-paced that Fear is massive. Yes, it is a huge part of this game, but again, that's not the only thing you're going to be worried about whenever you're facing a good demon, and the demon is going to know that. So again, a 5 fear recovered by a kill. It's really cool to keep your fear low, but again, it's not going to win you a ton of games against good players, just worried about fear. The Lumberjack Axe has a faster attack speed and deals increased health, balance bar, and dismemberment damage, which is really sweet. Scotty is an absolute badass with the Lumberjack Axe, and they are pretty common to find throughout the map, so using Scotty, I definitely recommend the Lumberjack Axe. Now, I will say Scotty is a brawler, man. Obviously, he's our melee class, warrior class, I should say. He is a brawler, and you can win matches with him, man. He will hold his own. But as far as effectiveness with his abilities and everything like that, I just feel like they're a little bit lackluster and could use a little bit improvement, which is why Scotty comes on our list at number 12. All right, guys, now here's a big one. Coming in at number 11 on our list is going to be Ash versus Evil Dead. Ash, of course, from the Evil Dead series. He is the leader, Ash. Now, I know many of you may not agree with this because I will say that in a squad, this Ash is absolutely dominant, especially with his fear reduction and keeping the fear off of the team and everything like that. It's just insane. He's a great leader. But let's jump into it. His skill, active skill that generates an explosion, damaging enemies balance bar. It's pretty cool, works pretty good, does some damage, but again, much like Scotty's, it's not incredible right out of the gate. I wish it could do a little bit more, but let's come down here. An aura that affects all survivors within range, increasing their fear resistance and the damage they inflict. Now, again, guys, this is massive. Ash versus Evil Dead. Ash is a massive team player. And what I mean by that is he requires a lot of good teammates around him to be most effective. You're not going to get much done single-handedly with him because he's not super overpowered strong, but he does fill his leader role very, very well, obviously. Start a match with the chainsaw, which is really cool. And we have enhances your aura's effects when you perform a finisher or dismember an enemy, which is also really cool because it also gives you 100% aura effect. So you're going to be keeping that fear down and increasing your team's damage. And of course, there's buffs within the skill tree that can help this stuff out as well. But again, in terms of his basic skill, or should I say ability effectiveness, not that great. And I don't want to base this list completely off of just abilities, guys, but they do play a massive factor in how, you know, the game's going to turn out with these survivors. So, Ash versus Evil Dead Ash, if I was going for a squad, he would be way up at the top for sure. But running in as just a solo player in a non-communicative squad, probably not going to be your best choice or number one choice. So number 11 for Ash versus Evil Dead. All right, guys, coming in at number 10. This is another difficult one for me. I wanted to find a place for Ed higher up on the list, but I just could not find where else to put him. I got to put him at number 10 right now. Now, Ed can be very valuable to the team, and he can be very, very powerful as a hunter, of course. So he does have the ability, as you guys can see here, when activated, this ability grants the use of a unique flashlight that allows you to detect and temporarily disarm demon traps. So definitely comes in handy whenever you're trying to loot a place or you're getting ready to run into a place. You know, the team, you know, we want to keep our fear levels low. We don't want mobs of enemies. Ed can detect these traps and certainly be supportive in that way and also protect himself in the process. So very good ability. I have no issues with that. However, as far as the demon goes, there's going to be a lot hitting you, especially if it's a good demon, more than just having to worry about traps. And Ed is a pretty squishy character considering he is a hunter, but going down the list increases the battery life of your flashlight, 100% extra battery life, so double the battery life. The crossbow has a faster attack speed and deals increased health, balance bar, and dismemberment. So it's definitely recommended. Anybody that plays an Ed wants to find crossbows. They're wanting their team to mark crossbows, but again, if you're playing with randoms, non-communicative squad, that's not always going to be the case. Not everybody's going to mark the crossbows. They mostly do if they see an Ed in the team and they have some experience in the game, but still doesn't render Ed as a top-tier survivor, in my opinion. And we also come down to the collector, increases the chance that defeated enemies will drop items, also improves the chance of finding crates of higher rarity. Now, this can be really, really useful, guys, especially with basic units. A demon that's going to be spawning tons of basic units. That's going to mean a lot of loot for Ed and a lot of good rarity loot as well. So, again, Ed can be extremely powerful, and I know there are some Ed mains out there that swear on it that he's the best survivor in this game, and I've seen many good Eds. I've faced against good Eds and played with good Eds, especially with the crossbow and the final shot doing maximum damage, which the crossbow is a one-shot reload, so it definitely pairs very well. He's very high on the offense, but as far as being supportive for the team and having good health, that is my biggest issue with Ed. So he's going to come in at number 10. Again, great character, but we're putting him at number 10 here on the list. All right, guys, so for pretty much the rest of this video, I'm going to be talking more about pros with the survivors than cons, because most of the survivors up until number 1 on this list, in my opinion, have very good attributes and assets to be very helpful for their team. So at number 9 here, guys, we're looking at Pablo, our first support on the list. And as you guys can see here, activate the skill to begin creating an amulet and drop it to the ground upon completion, which is absolutely unbelievably helpful. And of course, he's a support role, so using amulets in the vicinity of survivors and Shem's Colas, of course, will heal them. Put some armor on him. And now the really cool thing with Pablo that I think a lot of people really like with him is the camouflage, and I do myself as well, is because Pablo is one of the survivors you can kind of shy away from the team with and not have to get too concerned, because the demon cannot see Pablo's aura, unless of course he's, you know, terrified or in a car or things like that. But this does enable Pablo to kind of be that kind of lone wolf that can kind of go out and do objectives, kind of stray away from the team a little bit, which makes him very, very useful in the squad. So, again, we're thinking more from a playing with randoms perspective than teammate. Obviously, in a squad, Pablo is absolutely incredible, and he's incredible as a random as well. So you can start with an additional amulet as you level him up, and your shield bar will gradually recover over time until you have at least 1 full bar. Now, he does work the same way, a lot of the same way as Cheryl and Ash, Ash 1, I should say, in terms of how their skill tree works with the extra shemps, the extra amulets, things like that. So yes, he's an incredible support class. I play with him all the time. I really enjoy Pablo, but he's going to come in at number 9 on our list, guys. All right, guys, coming in at number 8, Ash from Evil Dead 2. Now, I do have a soft spot for this Ash because he was the very first one I used. Obviously, because we have the Savini skin, I wanted to use the hell out of him. I had a ton of fun with him, man. I probably used him more than any other character in this game so far. He is a ton of fun. He has great abilities, and he can be very useful on the team, as you guys can see with the Exorcist here. So essentially, anytime the demon possesses something, whether it be as a fellow survivor or a basic or elite unit, he can immediately exorcise them from that unit. That unit will die, and then, of course, the demon is fishing around for infernal energy and all that kind of stuff, so he can kind of screw up the demon's approach just by exorcising him. It does have a 60-second cooldown, and it reduces the energy reduction 15%. So definitely an incredible ability for Ash from Evil Dead 2. Coming down here, again, another one, Treasure Hunter, sees supply crates through walls at close range. Incredible ability. One of the best in the game, in my opinion, is his ability to see auras. Now, the only thing is, this Ash, again, he's a hunter. Very squishy, very good with ranged weapons. You can start the match with a double barrel. Double barrel has faster attack speed, deals increased health, balance bar, and dismemberment damage. So, again, I know a lot of you may disagree with me on some of these hunters that I am choosing, even some of the leaders, but this Ash can be very, very effective in a random or a communicative squad. But he's going to come on our list. This is where he stands on our list as of right now, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys, coming in at number 7, the lucky number 7, man. I wish I could put her higher as well, because she is an absolute monster in this game. So we have Ammo for Days ability. When activated, this ability allows you to temporarily fire your ranged weapons without expending any ammunition. So, unlimited ammo for 7 seconds. That's just on the base Ammo for Days, guys. It is insanity, especially if she has a pistol, revolver, something of that nature, Amanda can do a ton of damage. Start the match with a pistol, which is also pretty incredible because it works well, obviously, with this. We have the pistol as a faster attack speed, deals increased health, balance bar, and dismemberment damage, so even more buff to your pistol. And coming down here, this is the one that really gets me with Amanda, is damage dealt by your ranged weapons increases with each consecutive hit. So if you're using a pistol, of course, you know they have a fast rate of fire. You keep landing shots with them, man, you're going to keep stacking this damage per consecutive hit. So again, against bosses, against good elites, or anything that the demon may be working the hardest on, Amanda can absolutely ruin their day. And she comes in at number 7, but I still say she's one of the best survivors in this game, guys. She kicks ass, and that's on random and communicative squad. She can be very, very effective. So, coming in at number 7, guys, Amanda Fisher. Now, here's a big one, guys, that I may get crucified for. Coming in at number 6, Cheryl. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, okay, well, so you're saying that Cheryl is not the best support class in the game. And that is correct, guys. I believe that we'll get to him down the road, but I believe Ash from Evil Dead 1 is a better support class than Cheryl. But let's jump into it. Let me explain myself. So obviously Cheryl has the ability where she can drop down a healing kit, which everybody that steps inside gets the heals, which Cheryl's basically most famous for. She can carry more shemps at the start of the match with an extra one in her inventory. She has the ability, especially with the skill tree, to be stacked on shemps colas right out of the gate, guys. Drinking a shemp cola partially reduces your fear and the fear of nearby teammates, so she can reduce the fear, and which she can, the teammates can also gain health whenever she drinks the shemps, just like Pablo and Ash. But at number 6, man, we're going with Cheryl, and we'll explain why we're choosing Ash 1 over Cheryl when we get to him. So number 6, Cheryl, incredible, absolutely incredible. I see her almost every match I play. If I'm playing with random, Cheryl's always there, and she's always so helpful. She's probably the most popular support in the game, but not the best one on my list, so. All right, guys, coming into big old number 5 is Henry the Red, one of my favorite characters to play in this game, guys. Man, he is a brawler. He's a ton of fun. He can dish out the damage. He can take the damage. But one of the reasons why I put him so high on this list, and honestly, I would like to put him even higher, but I think he's good here, is because of his unstoppable ability. Now, not only does this prevent Henry from taking damage if you're fighting a boss, Evil Ash, man, and you need that extra little you need to get away a little bit. You can't take damage. Unstoppable's where it's at. But also, if you have teammates that go down, if they go down in battle, you can jump right into the middle of the combat, pop this ability, and revive your teammates, man. It is one of the best synergizing abilities. A lot of people think that it's just for Henry himself, but man, this can be so helpful to your team. So we have Unstoppable, shields up, start the match with an additional shield bar. This guy's got it all, man. Reflects a percentage of the damage you receive back into your attacker, 30%, dude, come on. Increases maximum health and shield bar length by 10%, and that's not to mention all of the other skills he has in the skill tree. Guys, I would go over these skill trees, but man, this video will be so long if I do that. But Henry the Red, guys, I would trust him in any fight against any demon to try my best to win the match. This guy has got it all, man. He is an absolute brawler. So number 5, Henry the Red. All right, guys, coming in at number 4, man. Now, I could have went either way. I could have flip-flopped Lord Arthur and Henry the Red. Could have went either way. I feel the same about both of them. Arthur, of course, is our leader. He is more squishy than Henry, but man, his ability tails the whole tale, ladies and gentlemen. So essentially, it's very easy. When he pops his ability, man, you see that fire coming out of his sword or whatever weapon he has. It should be the sword, in my opinion. But when you see that fire raging, man, jump into his aura because you're going to be doing insane melee damage. He's great support for an Ash, Army of Darkness, Henry, any type of melee class that does massive melee damage. He has the Weapon Master for heavy. He has the Weapon Master for light as you level up his skill tree. 30% for each. And if you perform a finisher while the Lord's Wrath is active, the ability lasts longer. So if you get in the fight, man, and you're just wrecking people with this sword and this ability, performing finishers one after another, you're going to keep that ability as that goes on. So Lord Arthur, guys, in my opinion, one of the best in the game when it comes down to being in the middle of combat, and you need to wreck some fools as quick as possible, man. rally around your teammates, rally around your leader, as Lord Arthur says, and you can absolutely annihilate with him and also help out your team. And again, you can do it with randoms or a communicative squad because you're all going to be in the middle of combat anyway. So the melee buff is just phenomenal in my opinion. So number 4, Lord Arthur. Guys, I think with these last 3, you probably have a pretty good idea of where we're going to round out this list, but let's keep the suspense going, man. At number 3, we have, in my opinion, the best support class in this game, which is Ash from Evil Dead 1. Now, looking at him, Reassuring Presence. When activated, this ability reduces fear levels for you and nearby teammates. It tails the tail, man. It has a 60-second cooldown. Again, skill trees can buff these abilities massively. But this is, the fear reduction is absolutely incredible. And it can keep him, especially with a leader Ash as well, running both of them together in a squad, you can almost completely eliminate the worry of fear for the entire match if you use them right. So that's not the only thing, though. We have alternative healing. Successful heavy melee attacks partially restore health for you and nearby teammates. So again, if you're in the midst of combat with this Ash, man, especially if you have a fast attacking weapon like a knife or a meat mallet or a cleaver, something like that, you can constantly spam the heavy attacks and you'll keep restoring health to you and nearby teammates. Headshots will mark the target. A follow-up shot from a teammate will deal additional damage. So if you have some hunters or you have any range guys in your team, hit that target with a headshot, especially we're looking at bosses, you know, good elites, good basics here. Hit them in the head. Your teammates with their ranged will do massive damage as well. And for the last one, mark target healing. Headshots will mark the target. Follow-up shot from a teammate will restore a percentage of the damage back to them as health. And that's 30% damage restored as health. So guys, again, that's massive. And that's not to mention his basic support attributes. Of course, whenever he drinks the Shemps, the whole team gets benefits from it. Whenever he uses the amulet, the team gets benefits from it. Of course, if they're in his aura or in his vicinity. So in my mind, or in my opinion, guys, this Ash is the most balanced, best support class in this game. Yes, more than Cheryl, more than Pablo. But number 3, we have Evil Dead 1 Ash. All right, guys, so we only have 2 left. We got to go with Kelly here, man. I have to go with Kelly. There's not enough I can say about Kelly, or I will spend a ton of time in this video. But not only, guys, most of you know how good Kelly is in this game. She's obviously a hunter. She's very squishy, sure. But she has this ability, man. When activated, you dodge without using stamina. Your ranged attacks cause bleeding damage to your target for a short period. So she can dodge like crazy. She can dodge in and out of combat with no issue. She already has amazing base stamina and speed. She can move around the map like nothing. And that's beside the fact that she has amazing range damage. Her skill tree provides her tons of buffs to that as well. So you can throw a revolver or a pistol in Kelly's hands or whatever kind of gun you like. You can dodge around like crazy. You can stray away from the team, or you can stray away from the bad guys, man. You can shoot them, pop them in the head. You can move around with such ease with Kelly. She's so versatile in this game. Yes, again, you're going to have to watch your health. She is limited on health, but man, is she so hard to hit. Especially when I'm playing demons and I see Kellys. If I know they're going to be a good Kelly by their playstyle, man, I am being prepared for a very rough match, man, because they are so hard to get a hold of. So, with that said, guys, I can't say enough about Kelly. Of course, she does have the meat hammer, faster attack speed. Now, the meat hammer isn't an amazing melee weapon, guys, in this game, in my opinion, even if you're using her with Kelly. But I haven't really used much of a increased melee damage. Melee damage with Kelly. I haven't really messed with that too much, but I don't know. If you guys have, let me know on the meat hammer if it can do insane damage, like a legendary meat hammer or something with her. But haven't used too much of that. But you don't need it with her, for sure. And of course, as you go further down the line, it does help her melee out more too as well. So rounding out number 2, guys, we're going with Kelly, man. She's an absolute beast, a badass in this game, and I think you know who's next. All right, guys. Surprise, surprise. Drum roll, please. Coming in at number 1. Army of Darkness Ash, guys, and this is not only in my opinion, I think it's most in the Evil Dead community's opinion. He is an absolute machine, wrecking machine in this game. Just to start it off, guys, Wiseman's Potion, when activated, this ability will grant you health restoration, fear reduction, increased damage dealing, and reduction of damage received. It's just insane. His potion is ridiculous in itself. Shield Blast. Each time your shield loses a bar, it triggers an explosion, damaging any nearby enemies. Great for being in the middle of combat. After Ash kills an enemy with a finisher, he recovers part of his shield bar. 40 for the shield bar restored, and the chainsaw has a faster attack speed, deals increased health, balance bar, and dismemberment damage. So obviously insane with the chainsaw, but not only just the chainsaw. Ash can be a beast with any melee weapon in this game, pretty much. If you look at his skill tree, guys, it's so focused on melee combat and health restoration. For me, I go mostly all melee, just hardcore melee. This guy will just wreck anything in his path, considering you have decent enough weapons and you know how to use them. But he is definitely, in my opinion, he is a beginner's class because he's very easy to use. He doesn't require a ton of skill, but it speaks for himself just how his character is built. He is, in my opinion, the #1 best survivor in this game in terms of everything that he can do. Most of the time, whenever I join public lobbies, everybody's fighting to pick this Ash. They want to play as him. A lot of times myself, I want to get him too right off the bat. And I tell you what, I've seen so many matches come down when the demon is very, very good. I've seen so many matches come down to this guy as the last man standing in that match. So Ash, Army of Darkness is, in my opinion, and many others, the best survivor in Evil Dead the game. So with that said, guys, that's my list. For now, like I said, it could change, and I know some of you may not agree with some of the characters I've chosen and different situations I put them in the list and tiers. But let me know your thoughts down below, guys, because I put a lot of thought into this video. I wanted to make sure that I have studied every class as much as I could before I went ahead and made a tier list. Again, this is my personal opinion, but let me know what you guys think. Who's your favorite survivor in Evil Dead? Who do you think's the best survivor in Evil Dead? Who do you think is the worst, or who do you think needs worked on? Anything like that, let me know in the comments below, guys. My name's Sergeant Moose. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We have a lot of Evil Dead content coming, guys. You can check us out. We live stream it every single night on Twitch at SGT Moose and YouTube here on the channel. So definitely drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care, guys.